North Korea, a nation we just all love to hate. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why? We're so quick to impose our morality onto other people, to assume we understand what freedom looks like or what happiness should be.
Hello!
I'm back in Pyongyang, the capital of the most secretive nation on earth. Today, we're leaving the city, passing by farmlands and military checkpoints. But this time, I'm not staying for long. This is where my entire perspective began to shift. Because out here, beyond the manicured streets, I developed a connection that I never expected. My local guide, Kang, started opening up to me, sharing his dreams, his fears, and his worldview.
It's a cruel monarchy.
Right.
Cruel monarchy.
What he told me hit me harder than I ever anticipated. Maybe the real journey here in North Korea is not about the destinations, but one about confronting our deepest assumptions.
I'm never going to be able to speak to him again after I leave here.
Before heading out into the countryside, I had a moment of deja vu, as it was time to take a quick stop at one of Pyongyang's most famous monuments, aptly named the Arc of Triumph. Built in 1982 and a few meters taller than the one in Paris, of course. And yes, it was pouring down with rain.
I'm a Brit. This is normal for us, I feel right at home.
A quick dash across one of the main roads in Pyongyang. Our guide led the charge, so naturally we followed, because if you're going to get hit by a car, it might as well be under government supervision.
Who would have thought? No rules in this country, baby.
From the top of Pyongyang's impressive replica, with a view over the entire city, something immediately struck me. Something oddly peaceful.
One thing I did not realize is such a stark contrast between North Korea and other countries is the lack of advertisements here. There are zero, apart from the propaganda signs that are spread around the city, just like this one in the background here. It's weird. I'm not being bombarded with consumerism messages. It's quite nice, I must say. Oh, we're going down. Okay.
Typical me, standing around questioning societal norms. I'd clearly forgotten I had a tight-knit schedule to stick to. Still, the lack of advertising really stuck with me, and it reminded me of a conversation I'd previously had with my guide, Kang.
We don't have like political slogans or anything, we just have adverts.
Not because I live in here, but I think political slogans is much better. Because if you want to live in a stable society, you have to. Okay, this is just my idea.
Right.
My opinion. You have to. We have to be one. The whole society should be one.
Okay.
Yeah, should be obey the government and.
The time had finally come to venture out of the capital, a moment I was quietly excited for. Beyond Pyongyang's polished streets lies a very different world. One where the billboards are replaced by state slogans. And as strange as it sounds, it was pretty refreshing not being bombarded by ads every 5 seconds. But then it hit me. A world without adverts sounds great, sure. But without them, well, how would I bankroll trips to secretive regimes so that you don't have to? Which is why this video is sponsored by NordVPN. Wherever you are in the world, okay, besides here in the North Korean countryside, using dodgy websites abroad or public airport Wi-Fi's can be dangerous. Using NordVPN is going to keep your connection safe and your data encrypted. A use case that I personally use is to change my location when I'm booking flights and hotels, as oftentimes this can get you a cheaper rate. And while you watch the North Korean countryside roll on by, I'm going to tell you about the exclusive deal Nord is currently running. So if you'd like to support the channel and stay protected in the process, sign up using the link down in the description and that will get you 4 months free on a 2-year plan. And with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, it's completely risk-free. And now we head back to a country that's never heard of a brand deal. Beyond the polished streets of Pyongyang lies a very different world. One not meant for show, but in this silence I started to realize Behind every system, every ideology, there are just hard-working people, living, working, and hoping to build a better future.
One question I have about the farms
Farms.
is in the UK people have, it's a private farm, so you sell what you grow.
Yeah.
Here I know that there's state farms, right? So people have to meet the quota, then the state will take it and delegate it around equally, right?
Not equally.
Okay.
Socialism is not so equalism. The compensation is delivered according to your effort. The farm separate the land according to the family numbers. For example, if in my family, if there are 3 working forces, we are given 3 acres, and if my neighbor has 4 working forces, they are given 4.
Oh, okay.
They grow up the crops after the harvest. They hand out certain percentage of the crops, and the other rest is theirs.
If they get above the amount that they need to give to the state, then they can keep it for themselves.
Yeah.
So then they may be able to sell it a little?
Sell it and buy another things.
Oh, okay.
But some families, it's quite a great fortune, really.
So we're at Dadong greenhouse. It's huge. Tons of greenhouses. I think they're going to show us some way that they grow fruit and vegetables. We're going to learn more about it in a minute. Then I'll educate you also.
I was asleep.
Don't sleep on the way back.
No?
Nah, it's fucking fascinating, bro.
Not so much, just like...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not so much to see. You mentioned last year was a busy year.
Yeah, busy year for the country. Yes, it was because so many buildings like Hwasong Street, 10,000,
10,000 new buildings each year.
10,000 flats each year last year.
Right.
And then there was some kind of flood in the northwestern part of the country. Yeah, it was such a disaster, and we had to build another dwelling houses. Only in that area, 5,000 houses were destroyed, were all flooded. The water was above the roof.
Did those people have other places to live, or did they live with friends, or like what did they do?
You mean flood-hit areas?
Yeah, because that's a lot of people, right?
Yeah. I think I like your question. At that time, our current leader, Comrade Kim Jong-un, he visited the area on his railway, and he looked around the place, flood-hit areas, and you saw on the paper, on the newspaper or the magazine. He went there and he consoled them. And the elderly people and young students, they come to the capital, they come to here, and they provided another hotel, and some of them lived in their temporary tents provided by the state, and all the food, clothing were supplied.
Wow, good.
Yeah.
And then so those houses are being rebuilt, and then they will be able to move back?
Okay, the flood was in July last year, and the constructors promised that they would finish it by October, but it's quite
Wow, that's not a long time.
It's quite challenging, isn't it?
Of course.
It's quite challenging, isn't it? So actually they finished building it in December, and they started living there.
That's quick.
They celebrated New Year in the new house.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where this came from, but it seems Kang wanted to get a quick dig in against China.
It's near the Amno River.
Yeah.
By the Amno River, and the opposite side is the Chinese buildings. They're in Dandong. Yeah, there's lots of high-story buildings, 40-story, 50-story buildings.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, the architecture is very simple.
Right.
But our country is very like some kind of a piece of art.
So you think the buildings here were better?
Yeah. We're proud of it.
You're proud of it?
Yeah, because the architecture reflects everything. It reflects our dreams, yeah, our desire for the future.
Yeah, that's deep.
Our potential, our standards of art, everything. Our leader is exerting much more emphasis on construction.
I see.
Even though, of course, it's a little bit hard for us, right? We're having construction in many areas, but we have to, so that our coming generations live a happy,
Right.
and better life.
Yes, yes.
I fully support him.
When you connect on a human level, the place doesn't matter. It's no longer about North Korea, it's just people showing resilience, surviving and rebuilding the lives that they once had. As we left the bus and entered what used to be a military airstrip, it felt like we were witnessing resilience in a new form, one that feeds and one less concerned with military might.
Oh, President Kim Jong-un came here.
Yeah, he came here.
Wow, when was this?
On the 15th of May last year.
Yeah, last year. He personally initiated the construction.
He initiated the construction.
He participated in the groundbreaking ceremony and completion ceremony. And it's a little bit, beautiful, right?
So this one is for the Pyongyang only or for the whole country?
Up till now, there are three. There are three greenhouse farms in this country. The one like this one, but not so big as this one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the most modern and the biggest.
The biggest one.
And this food is being supplied just to Pyongyang or to
residuals? Yeah.
residents all over the country or just to Pyongyang?
Our people.
I see.
I mean, who are devoting themselves to the accomplishment of the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does this one say?
Let us put vegetable growing on a scientific and concentrated basis.
So these signs, are they to motivate the workers?
Yes.
This slogan, yeah.
Okay. So this is the new method of growing food. This is the biggest greenhouse in the country, or the biggest area of greenhouses in the country. And they've started this vertical farming method, which obviously have much more yield of crops. But interestingly, they said this will probably only stabilize the food supply for Pyongyang. And Pyongyang has less than 10% of the country's population, so what that means for the rest of the country, I'm not exactly sure. We were just told that there are indeed no private farmers. However, for the farms that are producing food for the state, they have quotas to hit, and if they hit those quotas, anything more they can sell. So I suppose that is at least, a motivating factor for them. But I did not hear how difficult those quotas are to hit. Makes you think, man. I mean, food supply is just something we take for granted nowadays. I mean, because of the trade with other countries, you import what you don't have and you export what you do have. When you're a self-reliant country, I use air quotes because the past few days have made me realize that they are not totally self-reliant, actually. Although it seems that at least our guides think that they are. Well, then you need to produce enough to feed the whole population of 25 million people. And when you've got savage winters like they do here in North Korea, it's going to be quite difficult.
We were then shown how they were using this new UV technology to supercharge crops or something. I don't know, I was clearly occupied with other things. Anyway, I was more interested in having political and philosophical debates with my new friend. But before that, let me just interject for 1 second.
As mentioned in the previous video, there were rules to a giveaway. I'll link the video up here and down in the description so you can see the rules for that. But you'll be able to get your hands on some of these postcards, Kim Jong-un aphorisms book, and the Pyongyang Times newspaper. And not only that, something that you can definitely not get your hands on outside of the country, and that is some of their local won. Check that video out, you'll see the rules in there. Thank you. In the UK, obviously, people have lots of different ideas. You know, everyone thinks completely differently.
Yeah, I understand it. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, sometimes that can lead to division. It can lead to, you know, political fights or real fights. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't approve that. I don't approve that because I completely disagree with it. It's quite understandable. It's quite understandable, and I know. Well, your way of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your way of thinking. Of course, I like it, but too many politicians fighting each other. Well, they only fight. They only live for their own interests. This only demolishes the country, demolishes the government. I think. If they unite each other and they follow only one rule, yeah, then I think it may form much more stronger country.
The one question I would have then is, what if the person who decides what the rule is decides on a bad rule or a bad ideology?
Bad ideology. I think it's quite a very serious problem.
Right.
It's quite a serious problem. It's not good. Yeah. It's kind of it's a cruel monarchy.
Right.
It's a cruel monarchy.
Yalla.
I really like it. Our country has been a monarchy for thousands of years. Yeah, the difference between Western culture and Eastern culture is that point. European countries were ruled by a kind of a democracy, Senate, and Eastern countries, I mean Asian countries were mainly ruled by monarchy. So the king ruled the whole country with the bad rule, with the bad principle. Some kings try to do their best with their power, with their good morals, but the middle-level guys, they try to get some wealth. The farmers do their farming, and the cereals should go up to the center, right? But the middle-level guys, middle-level officials, they took away some of them for their wealth. What can I say?
So are you talking about corruption?
Yeah, corruption.
Right.
I'm not sure what is the main problem of your society, but in that kind of monarchy, corruption is the problem.
Is that something that you're worried about here?
No. We have the state and the party. The party is controlling all that kind of stuff. Corruption is everywhere.
Right, it is, yeah. It just works in a different way in my country. In a capitalist society, when there's a new government going to be elected,
The
companies will fund the advertising campaign of the leader that they want, because they know that this leader is going to support their business, and of course they expect favors in return if they win, right?
It's kind of a good investment.
Yeah, exactly. So you end up having a country that's run by people who want to make money. I think it's very difficult to have any system without corruption, because people are greedy. Humankind has a lot of greed, and people who want power, they'll do anything they can to keep getting more money, more power, more money, more power. I had a question before and I've forgotten what it was.
You're always welcome. Your question is always welcome. I'm going to give you a full answer, because I know that some of you have misunderstanding about the country.
Right.
I know that. Some of these guys are avoiding me. Some guys talk to me, said to me, "Oh, you're doing a spy job." 007. You still have some kind of misunderstanding. It's quite natural. You have so many questions about.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate that.
So many projects on. Yeah, last year, 3 years ago, there has been a great development, and I feel that there's been some kind of change in my whole life.
Oh.
Yeah. Everything is changing, and we might lead a affluent life, a rich life in the very near future. In 2021, In January 2021, there was a 8th Party Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea. From this Congress, Mr. Kim Jong-un, the current leader, he declared that we should make a real change. We should make a real change. If the party set forth the line, it should be carried out thoroughly. Maybe it's quite a little bit tiresome. The work can be some tiresome, but they are enduring for the coming generation.
Another thing that we haven't even touched on is that these slogans and stuff, it gives you a purpose, because there's a lot of people in Western countries now, they haven't got a reason to live. The way to get past that is to find something that has meaning, and like, I'm doing this job because it's going to make my community better, it's going to make my country better, and that gives you the ability to like to do it.
I'm sorry, my English.
Don't worry, I couldn't have this conversation with you in Korean, so
I like your questions very much.
I'm very curious, about everything. Before coming here, I had like a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of misconceptions. I believed a lot of the Western media, but not totally, because I already have a lot of experience that taught me not to believe the media. I wouldn't necessarily say that like I want to be here, I want it to be like this. At least it gives me much more understanding. Just like any other country, just like any other government or system, there's good things, there's bad things, and it's for you to decide what you think.
At this point on the journey, one of my friends, also on the bus, wanted to connect via WhatsApp. And at that point, Kang must have had a realization.
Really, I should miss all of you guys.
I'll miss you too, man. Yeah, we've had some good conversations. We've got to know each other quite well. Maybe I can unlock the intraweb in the UK and I can message you.
Message. Maybe I will have the chance to meet you, to chat with you on the internet.
Honestly, just watching this back gives me a lump in my throat. Us guys on the bus, so nonchalantly sharing numbers, knowing that we'll continue to stay in contact. And for a moment, I'd forgotten that wasn't possible with Kang, who I'd gotten very close with over the past couple of days. This was a stark reminder of where we are. And while it's okay to disagree with an ideology, it's imperative that we separate that from the people who are subject to it.
They have the internet house, right?
Yeah, internet house, but it's just not for chatting. It's only on business purpose. It's quite understandable for me. Our Korean people are not so accustomed to Western things, and the Western country, the USA, is spreading bad ideas about our country on the internet. I think it's good for ourselves. Blocking the internet, it's good, right? It's good.
You think it's a good thing?
It's a good thing for
the country.
Yeah.
With a heavy heart, in order to protect Kang, I have to put a stop to this section of the conversation, and I will not be responding to requests if asked. Fortunately, or unfortunately for Kang, he might be too intelligent for his own good. Wow. I just had a bit of a moment on the bus on the way back to the hotel. And the youngest guide, Kang, I had a pretty deep conversation with him, which left mixed emotions, to be honest. I feel like we made pretty good friends. We bonded a lot in that conversation. He's the same age as me, and we have a lot in common, and I'm never going to be able to speak to him again after I leave here. He said it's his dream to see the UK. I asked him, do you think that'll be possible someday? And he stuttered a bit and said, yeah. You can just see it in someone's eyes, like the reality of the situation. And he knew that too. I feel so silly.
they know the country is strict. They know they have rules to follow, and we have to abide by those rules too. But our four guides, like, hold on, let me get myself together. Our four guides, we've earned their trust. Like 2 days in, we've earned their trust. It's almost like it was the last day today, like the way we all bonded, the group we're with. They're giving us as much freedom as they are possibly allowed to do. And I've just come to realize that we're all people, regardless of our ideology. It's deeper than that. It's like a human fundamental level. And it just made me really sad to know that I'll never be able to speak to this guy again unless I come back. And, you know, maybe I will, but this feels like a one and done. Yeah, that's it.